Hi everyone, this is Anne, your nutritional health coach here at Modern Holistic Health. And today I want to talk to you today about eating seasonally. We are heading into the fall season, which is one of my favorites, and that's because we get a lot of really good fresh fruits and vegetables available during the fall that we don't necessarily get fresh the rest of the year. So what is eating seasonally? Well, I think back to my grandparents and my great-grandparents. When I was growing up, they grew a lot of their own food. They had really big gardens, and at particular times of the year, they would plant and harvest different vegetables and different fruits, and that was the pattern that they ate in throughout the entire year. Nowadays, when we go to our grocery store, we can pretty much get anything available all year round. And one example that I like to make to people is think about strawberries. That's one of my favorite fruits to buy. And typically in the past, they wouldn't be available in the winter months, like in December and January. But nowadays, you can find them all year long. And so we really no longer are forced to eat seasonally like our ancestors did. But if you think about eating seasonally, there are many benefits to doing this. The first one being that the food typically tastes better. Have you ever gone and picked something fresh, like picked a peach off of the tree or picked some blackberries and bit into that, and that was probably the best tasting piece of that fruit you've ever had, right? Well, when you eat something that is harvested fresh, it tastes better. So that's one reason to eat seasonally. Another reason is that when you eat something close to harvest time, you're getting the most nutritional value from that piece of fruit or that vegetable. Think about nowadays when food is harvested. A lot of our food comes from not only out of state where we live, but also out of country. And so when that fruit or vegetable is harvested, it takes 1 to 3 days to then travel to its destination. When it gets to your supermarket, it might sit on the shelf for another 1 to 3 days before someone buys it. And then think about when you go grocery shopping and you buy a lot of fruits and vegetables, you don't eat them all that day. They might sit in your fridge for another day, 2 days, maybe 3 days. So a lot of the fruits and vegetables that you're buying at the grocery store may be pretty far out from the day that they were harvested. And when you think about that, that is the nutrient density that's declining the longer time gets between when the food was harvested and when you eat it. So that's another reason why eating seasonally is a really good idea, because you get the most nutrient punch from your food. And that also goes hand in hand with eating locally. We all know it's better to get food that is closest to where you live. You know, if you know farmers or you know people, neighbors who grow their own food, and you can get a lot of your food that way, that's even better because it's grown in your own environment and your own climate. And again, you're keeping that nutrient density of that food because you're able to eat it quickly from when it's harvested. And another reason is that it's actually cheaper to eat seasonally. Think about the strawberries I was telling you about. That's one of my favorite fruits to buy. When I go to buy strawberries in the summer, nowadays, at my grocery store, they're about $2 for an organic container of strawberries, which is pretty cheap. But if I go try to buy those same strawberries in December or January, that same container of strawberries is going to be about $6. That's because they're out of season, and those strawberries are actually having to be brought in from a further destination from where I live. So not only does it take more manpower to get that food to you, it ends up costing you more in the long run. So those are all reasons why it's a really good idea to think about eating seasonally and reasons to do that. So as we head into the fall, like I mentioned, that's one of my favorite times of year. And we have some really good fruits and vegetables that are coming into season right now. My favorite is probably the winter squash. You know, you think about acorn squash, spaghetti squash. That includes pumpkin. Of course, as we're heading into the fall, pumpkin is a staple for a lot of people. And these foods are actually very high in vitamin C and very high in antioxidants, which is ideal for this time of year if you think about it, because we are heading into cold and flu season. So eating a lot of these foods that are in season right now is going to help boost your immune system, and it's going to help keep you healthy as we head into the fall and winter months. Another food right now, apples. Have you heard the saying, an apple a day keeps the doctor away? Well, there's a lot of truth behind that. Apples are actually shown to help boost your immunity. And so right now is apple harvest season. If you have an apple orchard near you, go out and pick some fresh apples. Perfect time to do that. Bake some apple pie, do something with those apples. But there's a lot of other vegetables that are also in season this time of year. Things like sweet potatoes, turnips, a lot of your root vegetables, things like mustard greens, kale. This is a time of year where kale is harvested. And all of these foods are really staples in a lot of our hearty comfort food dishes that we turn to as we head into fall and head into winter. So I hope this gave you some insight into what it means to eat seasonally, and I hope you think about that the next time you go to the grocery store and look for those foods that are coming into season right now, like your winter squash and your apples and your kale, and try to work those into your diet. You're going to get the most nutritional punch from those foods right now at this time of year. So I hope this video has been helpful for you. Thanks for watching. You guys have a great day.